No, said Betty Corrigal. I won't go for a walk with you. Never. But at the week's end, she walked with a sailor called Willie as far as the shore of Mones in North Hoy. Kiss you? She said. Whatever way would I kiss you? I don't even like you that very much. And one evening they walked as far as the sea valley of Wrigley. A slip of moon rose over the hill, a silver shaving. All the crofters and fishermen were inside behind barred doors. There were 16 lighted windows and one dark window where an old man had died the month before. At the edge of an oat field, the sailor kissed Betty Corrigal. I'll marry you, he said. I'll give up whaling. I'll build a house and make furniture for both of us. I'll rent a field at Orkney. There'll be 2 cows, 20 sheep, and 100 hens. I'm good with hammer and nail and saw. I'll make a bed, a table, 3 chairs, a deep cupboard, and a cradle that rocks. A star will shine on the doorstep. Betty Corrigal said that she would like that. And then it happened about the middle of summer one morning that Betty Corrigal was sick. I think the milk from the cow last night was sour, said her mother. But in the week that followed, the milk from Katie the cow on the porridge in the evening was warm and sweet and good. And every morning, Betty Corrigal was sick. Her mother put upon her a bitter look. Her father said nothing and went outside and looked at the tall green stalks of oats growing by the house. Willie Sinclair, he's wanting to marry me. He's going to rent a field at Orkney and build a house and make the furniture with his own hands. He's gone to see the factor about permission and the rent and that. He should have started months ago. He should be carting stones by now. Well, it wasn't often, said her father, that a sailor made a good crofter, although he had to allow it. Willie Sinclair's father had been a hard-working man. They made a bad beginning. Let them make sure it doesn't come to a worse end. The way it is, this house is disgraced already. Never till this day did I know that my daughter was a slut. The sooner you're under that sailor's roof, the better it will be for everybody. Her father said that if there wasn't heavy rain or a gale between now and August, it might turn out to be a good enough harvest. Betty said that she thought she and Willie Sinclair would make a good life together. And then she said, so softly that he could hardly hear her, that she loved him with all her heart. The first wooden thing that man had better make, said Betty's mother, is the cradle. After the corn began to hang heavy heads, Betty didn't show herself out of doors, both because she didn't wish the folk of Hoy to see her ripeness, and also because her mother blackly forbade her, even to fetch water from the well, or to keep Katie from the unsickled oats. But her father, at night, left the door unlatched, a thing he had never done before. Night after night, Betty and her lover mingled dark whisperings, moon-touched whisperings, wondering silences. Yes, the sailor assured her. The factor had agreed to rent them a 10-acre field for a fair rent, and yes, already he'd carted 3 loads of stone from the quarry to the site of the croft, and with hard labour, because it was stony, he'd laid the foundations, he'd bought enough spars and timber to make a door, a table, chairs, and a bed. Make the cradle first, said Becky. Make the crib quickly. And the farmer at Boo Farm had agreed that he would fetch a young ox for him, and he was negotiating for the making of a plough. And the darkness took him. He kissed Betty on her cold mouth, and she crept into the house and went into her lamp-splashed room until she was lost soon in the sweet darkness of sleep. Betty's mother waited until her father had gone outside. It'll need to be done quietly, she said. There'll be 2 witnesses, nobody else. I've spoken to the minister. The marriage is to be in the manse. I've made you a wide grey coat to wear. I suppose that man's mother, the slut that she is, will need to be there. And there's to be no dancing or drinking or fiddle playing afterwards. Betty thanked her mother for making the arrangements. She herself wanted no more. That night, she waited at the gable end of the croft. The moon was on the wane. The sailor did not come that night. She had so much wanted to unfold to him the wedding plans and find out the progress of the croft. Neither did he come the next night, when she waited under the cold embers of the moon. 3 more nights she waited. The last one, a complete blackness without a star. Field at Crockness, said the factor to Betty's father. I know of no field at Crockness. There's no land available at Crockness. What did you say the man's name was? Sinclair, William Sinclair. No, don't know the man. There's a whaling man, drunk this night and that, in one alehouse or another. That must be the man. Ah, now I think of it. Arabella's son, poor woman. Yes, a great liar, a great womanizer, I'm told, a teller of tall tales. No, I assure you, Tom, I wouldn't rent a single acre to that man, even if he asked it. Hadn't carted a single stone. Didn't ask permission. Wouldn't get it if he did. Tom Corrigal stood in need of a drink after he left the factor's house that afternoon, and he dropped into the alehouse in North Hoy. Casually, over drams, he mentioned the name of William Sinclair, the sailor, to Mark, the alehouse keeper. Gone, left 4 days ago. That Yankee ship at Longhope signed him on. Cargo of grain and clocks, bound for Russia. Owes me for 2 bottles of malt. Not that I grudge that, so as long as I don't see him again in a hurry. A liar, Tom, a troublemaker, couldn't hold his drink. I hope the boatswain of that Yankee ship is a hard man. Tom Corrigal drank too many drams of malt that afternoon and went home and struck his daughter hard across his face. A few stars blazed in his mouth, sufficient for the astonished woman and a quiet girl to know exactly how matters stood between Betty Corrigal, Willie Sinclair the sailor, the unborn child, and the house that would be made of wind and sun and rain. Of course, after a good supper of mutton and mashed meats and tatties, the farmer was sorry for what he'd said and done, partly out of shock, partly out of the fires of whisky he'd kindled inside himself. Surely Betty would be outside, beside the barn, weeping perhaps, but quietly, for Betty had never since childhood made loud demonstrations of grief or joy. He put on his coat. It was a cold day at the beginning of winter, and a few flakes of snow fluttered athwart the window like darkling moths. Betty was not at the gable end, huddled against the snowfall, nor was she in stable or barn or byre. She was at no croft or farmhouse in the vicinity, nor even over by the well where she liked to listen to the songs of the water deep down. No one in the vicinity had seen her, not even the manse or the teacher's house. When the even went at russet dawn to the sailor's mother's house. Betty here? No, Betty's not here. I wish she was here. I'd have a good daughter at fire and board. Oh, yes, he was here, right enough. Left 3 or 4 days ago. It's been a quiet house since. I hope you have good news of Betty, and that soon. No, I assure you, I loved that girl more than the very son I bore. After the last door was closed against him, Tom Corrigal made towards home, and as his feet shuffled through the melting snow, skirting the Bay of Lirua, he saw 2 men at the shore. He knew them, fishermen. He waved a tired hand in their direction. One of them waved back a gesture that looked like beseechment or denial. Don't come close. The younger one turned round and then looked back down at the shape on the ebb. His white hand hung like a star above it. The body was face down in a rock-cleft pool, but there was no mistaking the spread of golden hair. A suicide in the kirkyard, in God's acre, it's unthinkable, and a child-burdened suicide at that. Neither the kirk session of the parish of Vaux nor the kirk session of the parish of Voy would countenance such an intrusion. Some folk thought it was a pitiable business. She had gone mad with grief and fallen into the sea. Others that she had lost her way in a snow cloud and dropped over the shallow cliff. And others again that she must have gone down at dawn to see the Yankee ship drifting between the islands. And she had fallen, and the cold had seized her. Her heart must have been delicate. The water had closed over her. She was probably dead by then. It availed nothing, such talk. A grave was dug for Betty Corrigal exactly on the border of the 2 parishes. The gravedigger consulted a map with a thin line across it, then dug in his spade again. And the father and the gravedigger lowered the sodden body of Betty Corrigal into the deep peat moss. The gravedigger lit his pipe on the moor, and the father passed him a flask of whisky. And while that generation of Orcadians withered slowly, one after the other, into death, and after death rotted more urgently until they achieved the cleanness of skeletons, the deep peat moss kept the body of Betty Corrigal pristine and pure as it been in her youth. Soldiers digging ditches on the moor in the Second World War came upon the body of Betty Corrigal as it lay crosswise with the line of the two parishes, her feet in the parish of Bow, her head in the parish of Hoy. And the young men gazed in wonderment at a face that had remained fresh and pure, as if from the first springs of youth.